We have the ability and the gift of being able to go on stage and still have our love affair.
The year was 1977. While fans knew about the public breakups between Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham and John and Christine McVie's divorce, there was another relationship scandal that remained hidden for years. Mick Fleetwood, the band's drummer and supposed stable leader, was having a clandestine affair with Stevie Nicks that threatened to tear the group apart from within. What makes this story even more shocking is how it ended, with Mick betraying Stevie for her own best friend, creating a web of deception that nearly destroyed not just relationships, but the entire Fleetwood Mac empire. This is the untold story of the secret affair that almost ended one of rock's greatest bands. The perfect storm of broken hearts. To understand how Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks' affair began, we need to examine the emotional chaos that was consuming Fleetwood Mac during the Rumours era. The band was already a psychological battlefield, with multiple relationships imploding simultaneously while they were forced to work together every day. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham had just ended their tumultuous romantic relationship, yet they still had to perform love songs together night after night. John and Christine McVie were going through a bitter divorce after 8 years of marriage, creating another layer of tension within the group. The atmosphere was so toxic that band members were barely speaking to each other outside of professional obligations. But Mick Fleetwood was dealing with his own personal crisis that made him vulnerable to making devastating decisions. His marriage to Jenny Boyd, sister of Pattie Boyd, who was famous for her relationships with George Harrison and Eric Clapton, was falling apart. The final blow came when Mick discovered that Jenny was having an affair with his best friend and former bandmate, Bob Weston. This betrayal left Mick feeling emotionally shattered and seeking comfort wherever he could find it. The band's massive cocaine consumption during this period only amplified these emotional wounds. They were spending an estimated $60,000 on drugs during the recording of Rumours alone, creating an environment where rational decision-making was nearly impossible. In this haze of heartbreak, drugs, and professional pressure, the stage was set for the most destructive affair in Fleetwood Mac's history. The irony was that the very pain and dysfunction that was tearing the band apart personally was also fueling their greatest creative period. The songs on Rumours were born from this emotional carnage, but the human cost was becoming almost unbearable for everyone involved. The forbidden romance begins. The affair between Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks began during the Australian and New Zealand leg of the Rumours tour, when both were at their most emotionally vulnerable. The exact location was either Auckland or Sydney, but what happened there would haunt the band for years to come. Mick later described the beginning of their relationship in his autobiography, writing, "It was a fairy tale from my perspective. We were in a highly charged emotional situation. It was a mess. Why did it happen? I don't know. It was inevitable. It was a full-on love affair that lasted a long time." This admission reveals how the intense emotions and isolation of touring created the perfect conditions for their forbidden romance. For Stevie, the affair represented a form of emotional refuge. She was reeling from her breakup with Lindsey and a subsequent brief relationship with Don Henley of the Eagles. Mick, as the band's leader and father figure, represented stability and protection in the chaos of her personal life. As she later reflected, "Never in a million years could you have told me that would happen. That was the one thing I was so sure of. Mick and I would never have an affair, ever. But we did, and it was a terrible mistake." The secrecy of their relationship was absolutely crucial. Both Mick and Stevie knew that if the rest of the band discovered their affair, it would be the final nail in Fleetwood Mac's coffin. They were already dealing with 2 other relationship breakups within the group, and adding a third romantic entanglement would have been catastrophic for band morale and public image. For approximately 2 years, they managed to keep their affair hidden from everyone, including their bandmates. This required elaborate deception, secret meetings, and constant vigilance to avoid detection. The emotional toll of maintaining such a significant secret while performing together every night was enormous for both participants. The ultimate betrayal. The way Mick and Stevie's affair ended was even more devastating than the affair itself. As their relationship began to cool, Mick made a decision that would shatter Stevie's trust and create one of the most painful betrayals in rock history. Sarah Recker was Stevie Nicks' best friend and closest confidant during this tumultuous period. She was the person Stevie turned to for emotional support, the one who knew all her secrets and provided comfort during her darkest moments. But as Mick's relationship with Stevie fizzled out, he secretly began a new affair with Sarah, creating a double betrayal that would devastate Stevie. When Stevie discovered that Mick was now involved with her best friend, the emotional impact was catastrophic. She later described her feelings. "I lost Mick, which, I didn't think I'd get him back anyway. And I lost my best friend. It's the oldest story in the world. He left me for my best friend." This wasn't just the end of a romantic relationship. It was the destruction of her most important friendship and support system. The betrayal inspired one of Stevie's most famous and emotionally charged songs, Sarah. While she has stated that the song has multiple meanings and interpretations, she confirmed that the lines were heavily influenced by this period of betrayal and loss. The lyric, "And he was just like a great dark wing within the wings of a storm," takes on a much darker meaning when understood in the context of Mick's betrayal. Could Stevie have ever imagined that the man she trusted as a lover and the woman she trusted as her best friend would conspire to break her heart so completely? The answer reveals the depth of deception that was occurring within Fleetwood Mac's inner circle, showing how personal betrayals were threatening to destroy the band's foundation. The aftermath and long-term damage. The revelation of Mick and Stevie's affair, followed by his relationship with Sarah Recker, sent shockwaves through Fleetwood Mac's inner circle and created lasting damage that would affect the band for years to come. The trust that had held the group together through previous crises was permanently fractured. Stevie's pain and anger over the double betrayal became a driving force in her songwriting, but it also created an atmosphere of mistrust within the band. As she later stated, "I wrote Sarah about my best friend Sarah, who I loved and adored, and who then ended up marrying Mick. So I was not happy. I was the one who was betrayed by both of them." This public acknowledgement of the betrayal showed how deeply the wounds had cut. The affair's impact extended beyond just personal relationships to affect the band's creative process. The follow-up album to Rumours, called Tusk, was notoriously disjointed and experimental, partly because the band members were barely collaborating. The hidden tensions from Mick's affairs contributed to the fractured creative process and the album's commercial disappointment compared to Rumours. Mick's decision to marry Sarah Recker in 1988 added another layer of complexity to the situation. The marriage lasted until 1995, meaning that for 7 years, Stevie had to deal with seeing her former lover married to her former best friend. This ongoing reminder of the betrayal made it impossible for the wounds to fully heal. The legacy of deception. The secret affair between Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks, and its devastating conclusion, became one of the most closely guarded secrets in rock history. The full details didn't become public knowledge until Mick published his autobiography, Fleetwood: My Life and Adventures in Fleetwood Mac, in 1990, nearly 13 years after the affair began. The revelation in Mick's book shocked fans who thought they knew all the drama behind Rumours. While the public was aware of the Buckingham Nicks and McVie breakups, the Fleetwood Nicks affair had remained completely hidden. Mick's admission that, in the end, it was the secrecy that made it so destructive. We were all living in our own little worlds of denial, showed his understanding of how the deception had poisoned the band's relationships. For Stevie Nicks, the experience became a defining moment in her understanding of trust and friendship. Her later relationships and friendships were inevitably influenced by this betrayal, making her more cautious about who she allowed into her inner circle. The pain of losing both a lover and a best friend simultaneously left scars that influenced her songwriting for decades. Today, the affair serves as a reminder that even the most successful bands are made up of flawed human beings capable of making devastating mistakes. The fact that Fleetwood Mac survived this betrayal and continued to create music together speaks to their professionalism, but the emotional cost was permanent and irreversible. While the band survived this crisis and continued to make music together, the trust and innocence of their earlier relationships was permanently lost. The affair serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of mixing personal and professional relationships, especially in the high-pressure world of rock stardom. So, what do you think about this hidden chapter in Fleetwood Mac's history? Were you surprised to learn about Mick and Stevie's secret affair? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this revelation as shocking as we did, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell for more untold stories from the world of rock music. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.